Hey, it's Manu with 22 Sounds. Welcome to another episode of our new little series that we call Treasures from the Record Bins. Yeah, in this series we just want to kind of dig through our bins, through all those little gems that come and go to our store, because of course we buy collections all the time and we love to discover new music. We love to get those new releases in and we're all excited about that, but just as much fun to us is going through those old collections and finding some gems in there. Sometimes we also, of course, still discover stuff that we never heard of all the time. And yeah, I always say, you know, discovering something that might be 40, 50 years old, but it's new to you, it's just as exciting as discovering brand new stuff. So we just wanted to share that with y'all in this little series and highlight some records that for whatever different reason we find noteworthy, and maybe you discover something too, or you just get reminded of something that you actually really like. All right, so we're starting this week with this record here, Big Mama Thornton. The album is called Stranger Than Dirt. Yeah, one thing, of course, one big hit that she had is called Hound Dog, a song that you might have heard of before. Well, of course, Elvis' version of Hound Dog was the biggest one, and most people think of Hound Dog really as an Elvis song, but it wasn't, of course, written by him. It was a cover version. It was actually covered, I don't know, countless times over the years. But it was originally written for Big Mama Thornton by two guys called Jerry Lieber and Mike Stoller when they were still teenagers, actually. And she had a pretty decent hit with it in the R&B charts, sold really a good amount of copies. Of course, it then became really huge in the mainstream with Elvis, but it was still pretty good seller. But she claims she only saw a royalty check of $500 for it. It's ridiculous to think, but she actually was also a songwriter, and well, most notably, probably most famously, for a song called Ball and Chain, which Janis Joplin then made really famous, and that actually helped her career out a little bit too, by that exposure by Janis, but just a lot of Janis contemporaries who obviously were really big worshippers of the old blues. That whole rock scene of the 60s, of course, was heavily influenced by blues, and that kind of made the public be more interested in blues artists again, and it kind of helped her out too. And in the wake of all that is when this album Stranger Than Dirt was released. So it's a really nice snapshot of what made her so great. I mean, really, when you listen to that, her voice is just like that quintessential emotional blues voice. It's absolutely amazing. And so if you like old blues, really get, if you don't know it yet, you might already know it. I mean, it's a pretty sought after record, but if you don't, hey, check this out. It's a really great record, and it has all those things that make blues so special, so emotionally touching. Big Mama Thornton. Yeah, then we had another little I don't know if I should call it an oddity, but this one here was in a collection the other day. I was really surprised to see it, especially in such a great condition. This is a very sought after jazz record, but definitely one that a little more underground, I guess you can say. It's Doug Lucas, and the album's name is Niara. Yeah, so he is a guy that is an American, but he moved to Belgium, lived in Belgium for a long time, and was in numerous groups as songwriter or otherwise contributor as well. This was his first solo album, and it is some jazz fusion, I guess, jazz funk. Apparently Belgium had a pretty big jazz scene in those times in the 70s. This was like mid-70s when this came out, and yeah, it was a really creative environment. So it's pretty crazy at times, pretty avant-garde, and it's played just amazingly and produced amazingly as well. It really sounds great. The musicianship is absolutely astounding, and yeah, over the years a lot of people discovered it. I mean, it was sampled in a lot of hip-hop songs as well by some pretty big names as well, and became a little bit of a cult classic in the jazz world. Yeah, it's a very interesting find, and if you like jazz, or if you're kind of getting into jazz, this might be something to check out, a little bit off the beaten path, a little bit different than the really big names that you're probably already familiar with. And then we have another one that I thought was pretty funny. This is Authentic Music of the Snake Charmer. Yes, the snake charming, great thing, of course. We live in a place here in Louisiana where we have a little too many snakes for comfort, so this is something I might actually have to bring home and try. Well, anyway, this the instrument that is played here is called the Murli. I'm probably mispronouncing that, M-U-R-L-I. But it's kind of funny. It's made out of dried pumpkin, and apparently it's like a very special sound that it makes that charms the snakes. The snakes, of course, they don't have actual ears, but it's the vibrating, or the vibration, I guess, that supposedly gets the snake, and yeah, it's just totally irresistible for them. But here, for those of you who do have ears, you can actually listen to this, and it is actually kind of fun, I gotta say. Yeah, that's one of the things that I like when we go through those collections. Is it's always fun to find like the big names, of course, and big records that you've always loved, but to see those little oddities in there, it's always a cool thing. And I'm sure a lot of you record lovers out there, that's one of the things you enjoy when you go to a record store. And yeah, that's what we're trying to share here in this little series. So yeah, subscribe to our channel, follow us on Instagram, Facebook at 22 Sound Records. We also have a show where we focus on new stuff and always highlight every week the brand new vinyl releases, so you can stay up to date with that, and you can pre-order those records straight on our website 22soundrecords.com. and yeah, let's see what we find for our next little episode. Thank you for watching.